So just like our previous pack opening, before we get to all of these exclusive packs, we're going to go ahead and open up all these standard packs, right? So all that I ask, like button, red subscribe button, notification bell, inside the description, how to become a member, my social media links, follow them, and then my other YouTube channels. Make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe to them, especially Bhlademyst 2.0, because that's where we're going to be dropping all of our gameplay videos for MLB The Show 22, and on this channel will be tips, guides, conquests, and pack openings. So we're not really going to go into the diamonds here to see what we get, if we get any diamonds at all. We're going to keep a counter in our heads, but besides that, we're just going to be chatting with each other. So the first question I have for you all is, who do you think is going to be the cover art for MLB The Show 22? My prediction is that it's most likely going to be Shohei Ohtani. Why Shohei Ohtani? Well, Shohei Ohtani could easily be the face of baseball if he truly wanted to, and they might have an international edition where Shohei Ohtani is the cover art for it, but I think regardless of what edition they do go ahead and run with, Shohei Ohtani should be the cover for it. And if Canada has its own specific edition, then it's most likely going to be either Robbie Ray or Vladimir Guerrero Jr. It depends where Robbie Ray goes for this offseason, because if Robbie Ray decides, hey, I'm good on Toronto, I want to go elsewhere, and he signs elsewhere, then I think it would be Vladimir Guerrero Jr. But I think that believing that Shohei Ohtani is going to be the cover art is not a bad idea. Now, there could be someone else that could be the cover art, and this is an interesting theory of mine. So let's say the Yankees do end up getting one of those big name shortstops, meaning they get either Corey Seager or Carlos Correa. Let's just say in a hypothetical world. I think that could push SDS to go ahead and put one of those two shortstops, whichever one the Yankees do end up getting, let's say if they do, as the cover art for MLB The Show 22. Why? Well, it's pretty simple. The Yankees are probably the biggest franchise in the MLB, and they can probably generate the most revenue at the end of the day. So I think that 100% it could easily be them. But that's if you're buying a physical cover. If you're buying the digital cover, you don't care who's at the cover, right? Like Fernando Tatis Jr. was the cover art this year. I'm positive. I would have to press the home button because I don't even remember. And nobody really cared. Like, I'm a Dodgers fan, and I personally didn't care at all. Now, my second question to you all is, who do you think, for next year, of course, not this year, is going to be the World Series champions? My pick is going to be biased. It's going to be the Dodgers, and I'm going to select the Dodgers because I think the team will be fully healthy. If Jesus Christ, where did my accent come in? But if, right, let's say Trevor Bauer has been proven innocent out of all the accusations against him, and he is not convicted of anything, and we get Dustin May back. Let's say Max Scherzer comes back. For some odd reason, they decide to keep Max Scherzer as well, and Clayton Kershaw decides to come back as well, which is us basically dreaming, because I highly doubt both of those starting pitchers would come back. I think you would have to get either or none at all. But let's say both of them come back, or one of the two come back. I think the Dodgers are still, on paper, the team to beat in terms of the MLB 100%. But if I had to pick a team that is not the Dodgers to go ahead and win it all, I think I would honestly have to pick the Atlanta Braves again. Why? Well, for some reason, I don't know what it is about them, especially if in the NL East they're getting back Ronald Acuna Jr., and if they add some really good pieces and whatnot, then I think they 100% have the opportunity to repeat. Especially if they re-sign Freddie Freeman. That's going to be their core piece. If they re-sign Freddie Freeman, I think they 100% have a chance to go ahead and pull off a back-to-back. I don't know what it is, but in the playoffs, whenever the Braves are there, it's like they have that certain Boston Red Sox and San Francisco Giants and St. Louis Cardinals factor to them, where in the playoffs, those teams, they just like outperform whatever they did in the regular season. Granted, you might say to yourself, well, the San Francisco Giants didn't do that this year, nor did the Cardinals, considering they lost to the Dodgers. But the Cardinals, they gave the Dodgers one heck of a game. Granted, once again, that the Cardinals, the only run they scored on Max Scherzer was on a wild pitch. But nonetheless, they were shutting down the Dodgers. The Giants came in. Logan Webb was shutting down the Dodgers. The Giants were shutting down the Dodgers 100% themselves without a problem. And there were two games where the Dodgers really outperformed them. And then it came to game number 5. The Atlanta Braves, I never really was too much of a fan of Milwaukee, so I always felt like the Atlanta Braves were going to come out on top in that series. The only place I would have given Milwaukee the 100% edge was the starting rotation, and then I'm pretty sure, unless it was last season, that Devin Williams had gotten injured prior to the postseason this season, unless it was last season, unless my memory is all fogged up. And that definitely hurt the bullpen of the Milwaukee Brewers. What I liked from the Brewers was just the starting rotation. You had Brandon Woodruff, you had Corbin Burns, you had yourself Freddie Peralta, which all pitched well enough to go ahead and give their team a fighting chance, but the offense, it just wasn't there. And granted, once again, and I keep saying granted, I don't know why, the offense wasn't really there for the Atlanta Braves either, but they knew situational hitting, or they were able to clutch up those hits, home runs, whatever it was that they needed to clutch up to get in order to win the games. And I think not a lot of teams can do that. And the three teams I mentioned, the Red Sox, the Cardinals, and the Giants, as well as the Braves. Braves right now, those are the teams that are starting to surprise me because they're having that like playoff it factor. When it comes to the Dodgers, I don't want to mention them as the playoff it factor because they are so heavily favored every season. And to be honest, I don't know what it is that's wrong with them because yes, they won last year, but I think that's a Mickey Mouse ring. Like, I'm a Dodgers fan, and I'll be honest, I think it's a Mickey Mouse ring because at the end of the day, it was only 60 games played, right? Not only that, but in 60 games played, you can't really crown yourself in a way. Even if there was a postseason, the postseason wasn't exactly the regular postseason format that we normally run with either. So you have to also take that into consideration. The Dodgers have had 4 attempts of winning a World Series, legit, and I don't know what it is, but whenever they are in the playoffs, until their backs are against the wall, for some odd reason, they just don't seem to wake up. And I'm not sure if it's Dave Roberts. I'm not sure if it's the guys upstairs telling Dave Roberts what to do, but it's like they don't have that spark plug. Like, I feel like Yasiel Puig was that one piece the Dodgers should have never let go. Maybe even give him a chance considering he doesn't have a team if he's willing to come back on the minimum. But they just need a spark plug that's going to wake them up and say, hey, we need to go out there and win. Enough of just playing through the motions and knowing, hey, we're the Dodgers, our shit don't stink. We don't have to worry about anything because we can come back against any team. And let's put down these teams early, let them know they don't have a chance with us, and then walk our way to another championship. That's what I want to see from the Dodgers, especially as most of the core pieces are now free agents. They're going to have a bunch of new guys now going in there and having the same expectations as those older guys. So I think that this year is definitely going to be the year where the Dodgers are going to have to either A, show that they're going to be here long term, or B, just reconsider what it is they're chasing. Because the San Diego Padres, they're only going to continue getting better or trying to get better in order to compete with the Dodgers. The San Francisco Giants, even though they had one hell of a year, I'm not sure if I can just confidently say, hey, they're going to repeat. Actually, I can't confidently say, hey, they're going to repeat. They're going to get 100-something wins. I think everything just fell into the right place for them this season, and I think it's very hard, very difficult for it to happen again. I see them at best at a 3rd place team, maybe 2nd wildcard team, and at worst I see them obviously last place, but I just don't see them coming in 2nd place or 1st place, specifically because the San Diego Padres, they're going to have a healthy rotation next year, and the Los Angeles Dodgers, they're going to do whatever it takes to make it back to the playoffs because that's just their motto. Plus they still have Trey Turner, so that's a very good infield piece. We don't know what happens with Corey Seager yet, but let's say they do sign him back, and then their middle infield is perfect. And even if they don't sign Corey Seager back, yeah, that's going to be a devastating hit, but I think the Dodgers are prepared for it with a player like Gavin Lux to come and do his best to fill in those shoes. And they still got veteran leaders like Justin Turner, Mookie Betts, and hopefully Cody Bellinger finds himself. Max Muncy, another veteran leader right there. And Will Smith, he just needs to work on the defensive side of things. Get yourself an arm, buddy, because right now we can't just deal with that in the playoffs. But there we go. All the standards, Team Affinity packs. Make sure you guys tune in for tomorrow, and we'll have another discussion. Have a blessed day and night. Stay positive, stay safe, stay blessed, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Peace out.